is that was incredible, and you are, well, let's be honest, one of the heaviest bands on this bill. How and why did you decide this was the thing you wanted to do?
It was just one of them things. I mean, we know Stuart, who runs the event through the Metal to the Masses programme that we did last year, and he came down. I think he may have even judged a couple of heats as well, and he basically just sent us a message and just asked, he just explained that his band runs a festival. Do we want to be a part of it? It's at Corp, and we love playing here, so we jumped at the opportunity, and here we are. It's been great.
Have you had a good day? Like, have you found it quite welcoming? Particularly, we are in this period of time in the UK more than anything else where we are post-COVID, we are finding our feet and gigs and stuff are starting. Have you found the scene has been quite supportive of your return?
I'd probably say so, yeah.
Depends where you go, really. It's hit or miss. Sometimes around Sheffield, that's where that's where we get most attention, if you will. That's why we play at Corp quite a lot.
Yeah.
Whereas if we were to play Manchester, I guess that's where the band originated from. However, I feel like people aren't as familiar with us now, as in now, as in what we were back then, before COVID and during COVID.
So it's become a lot more saturated in Manchester. A lot of good bands in the scene. Before me and Chloe, and Kyle now joined the band. I know they were big in Manchester. I don't know. We've sort of moved away from Manchester, but we're always down to have a gig there whenever we can, sort of thing. So
you used a word there that is acknowledgement of the state of affairs these days, saturation.
Yeah.
Not just Manchester, but the scene in general.
Yeah.
How do you guys find the work when it comes to standing out from the crowd? What do you feel you're doing or able to do to stand out from the pack?
It's a tough one, really, because if I'm completely honest, it's very tough to stand out because there's a lot of different subgenres, so many different sounds. What makes us stand out? I mean, from the start until now, we've kind of been the young band with a massive, well, without sounding big-headed, we're a young band that has a surprisingly big sound, especially for our age.
Okay.
I say young.
Wow.
Young subjective.
The average has gone up.
Yeah. I mean, like, we've been a band for a while now, so obviously we've gotten a bit older, but we're still younger than a lot, with the exception of Kyle over here.
I'd say we're older now. Only younger than it's.
Yeah, most of us are in our 20s now.
No, but it's.
Have you had this? Have you had a moment where you looked at and gone, "Oh my God, I cannot believe we've reached to these people in this country," or something like that yet?
It happened a lot when we first started out as a band, and we put out our debut EP, which just me and Tom were on actually now. So we had a different lineup, and that was during the midst of COVID, and we were basically just online then.
Yeah.
Not sort of like Infant Annihilator online, but we didn't have an option.
Yeah.
So it sort of got out to a lot of people in different places, and we ended up selling the merch that we were putting out at the time to places like Japan, Canada, and stuff like this. And even with Spotify streams as well, just getting to all these sort of different countries. It's mint, not just that people not just in the UK enjoying his tunes as well, no matter where it is.
Who were we had like a merch package. Was it Sweden that someone?
Yeah.
Like a big merch package. It
Happens
was like
a lot.
a cassette. It was a t-shirt.
Basically the album bundle that we did.
Are you able to, when you see that happen, are you able to look at yourselves and go, okay, what is it about us that has this potential universal appeal? So, okay, UK has its own scene and so on, but hey, Sweden wants a package, and this might only be one person, but what is about what we're doing, or Japan and so on? Are you able to identify that? Are you able to look at yourselves and go, this is what we're doing?
I think, to be honest, it's kind of surreal that people are ordering from that far away, but then again, almost everyone or most people have heard of and use social media.
Yeah.
That is like one of the biggest, unfortunately, as toxic as it can be, social media is like one of the biggest things for any band to use in order to market themselves and push themselves. And obviously with it, things like Instagram and Facebook being a worldwide thing, obviously there's going to be a big chance of people from all over the world being able to view our stuff, whether that's music or merch.
Are you good at it though? Do you think Steel Mage as a package, because there's a big difference between, we all know it's there, whether it be Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok and so on, but being good at it is a different thing. Do you think you've kind of got it down?
I mean, we take a lot of pride in his sort of social media appearance.
Yeah.
Because obviously, as Tom said, it's such a prominent part of what it is now to be a band.
Businesses generally.
Everyone relies on that social media, so you've got to sort of take it in your stride, regardless whether you like it or not, because it's how a lot of people are going to hear about you.
Yeah, as well, like in this day and age, like to be a musician, especially like trying to come up in the scene, you've got to be like not only a musician, you've got to be almost your own promoter as well, maybe even your own producer. Like there's a lot of skills to it nowadays that I think we're trying to sort of hone and get down, especially like towards, like you said, social media side and that, because that's obviously like really important, especially during those early days of COVID.
Yeah, and also one last thing, I think considering we're independent, we're not signed by any means, I think we actually are quite good at what we do in terms of the marketing and the boring side of things. I'd like to think we're pretty good at what we do. Like I said, we've all got I'd like to think we've all got a pretty decent social media presence. So whenever we're promoting stuff, it gets out to potentially thousands of people at a time.
When you reflect on, we are now over halfway through 2023, do you think this year has been a strong year for Steel Mage overall so far?
It's been up and down. I mean, it's going fast. It really is going fast. But I mean, we obviously put the album out last year, and then we gigged a fair bit last year, and then coming into this year, we were starting off, trying to write new music. We had a little weekend thing with a band called Flatline from Newcastle, I think they're from, and that were real good fun. Middlesbrough, that's it.
They'll watch this and they'll be like, oh,
and that were well received. And then Tom went on to do a different project for a couple of months, so we sort of just had a small break during that period. Then we came out and did a couple more gigs, but again, that's just how fast it's gone. And then we're here now, and we've got a new vocalist, and we're ready to go again.
I do want to say, while the gigs have been on sort of like the lower side of it, we have been writing behind the scenes.
Absolutely.
We've got a lot of...
Come on! That's the next part of the question.
We won't tell you how many songs.
We literally just did the previous 6 months. Let's talk about the next 6 months.
Well, there is a
Patience is a
roadmap
virtue.
in place. So I will tell you that much. Yeah, we've got a lot of stuff coming from Steel Mage. We've had this time over this past year to sort of properly knuckle down, sort of realise the sound of Steel Mage as it is today.
Yeah.
And we've.
I think we finally found that.
We've found it.
We're gonna obviously carry on and build on that. And I can guarantee there will be new music from Steel Mage this year.
This year?
100%,
Yeah, absolutely.
That's all we ever want to hear. But don't go anywhere, right? So there's 5 of you. We normally split this between, depending on certain people,
Let's have a look.
about numbers. So this is a random selection of questions. It can be the most absurd or the most serious things in the world. You're going to do one each because there's 5 of you. So we're going to start with, well, basically it's a random selection. Choose one. And answer the question. You can all have a go at it if you want, if you've got a thought or opinion on it. Nothing too controversial. You haven't got to worry about it.
Yeah, you're making me nervous.
What have you got?
Come on.
What's the most absurd thing on your rider?
On your rider? Yeah.
Rider. What does that
Yeah.
mean?
What's your go to a gig?
Right,
What's your rider?
Rider is basically what people prefer for us in the green room. It could be food, it could be drugs, it could be women. I'm kidding.
I'm not condoning any of that.
No,
Yeah, but it is what it is. Yeah.
I'm not too sure. What?
Are you separating M&Ms by colour? No?
right, that's it.
If that's a good idea, you know.
Who is it? Who is it who does that? It's
Van
not.
Halen, isn't it?
It's from Wayne's World.
Yeah, but someone actually did that.
Yeah,
was it
it's
Lemmy
Ozzy or someone like there's someone fairly huge.
I can't remember. I
What
think
would-
I'll tell you.
You know what?
So,
Go on.
first gig that I played with Steel Mage when I joined, we played a gig in Manchester. I can't remember. I'm not gonna go too deep into it, but we were sat there in the green room, just crate of beer on the side, and a geezer comes in from another band and he's like, shh. I'm like, what's that? And he's like, hold a bit. I'm like, First gig, no. First gig. That's probably the most absurd thing. We've had I mean, your boxes is one of them. That's a funny move.
That's not part of our rider, but we
Not
sometimes
part of
think
our
it
rider,
is.
but it's a pre-gig ritual.
Yeah, pre-gig rituals are awesome.
Do you want to explain, Jack?
Basically, I require a fridge whenever we play anywhere and another pair of boxers. So as the drummer, I always get a clean pair of boxers and put it in the fridge before I play. So as soon as I get to the venue, and then as soon as I get off stage, take the boxers off, put the cold boxers on, and it is a game changer.
Brilliant. Talk about comfort.
See that back.
Stick it back in. All right, you're gonna have a go. Choose
Oh, let's have it.
anyone from that end.
Let's have it.
What you got?
It's a long one. Have you ever been so scared you closed your eyes or just ran?
That is unusual.
Probably the first time I met Tom.
Wow.
No,
What
I'm
did you
joking.
close your eyes or run?
Ah, I ran as far as I could. I'm still here, so that's obviously worked well.
Didn't get that
No,
far, did you?
I don't know. The only thing I can think of is when I were about 11 and I went on Smiler at Alton Towers for the first time, and I were on it with my dad, and I thought, hey, it's going to be cool because it were all yellow, and it was like, oh, it looks cool, and then I went on it, and then when we were going down, I just shut my eyes, didn't I? So that's the
Fair
only
enough.
thing, really. To be fair, nothing too exciting.
All right.
Should I be dreading this?
It
We've had
depends
it.
how lucky you are. There's 140 in it, I think. So
What fucking handwriting is this? What is the last record you bought? What was the last CD you bought?
It's your
Oh, well, oh.
You're not interviewing
yeah,
us.
yeah.
Okay, okay. The last one I bought was by King 810, and it was Le Petit Mort or A Conversation with God.
Okay, you a King 8110
It's an
fan.
undying love I'll always have for King 810. Yeah,
Oh,
but
okay.
I don't know anyone else who likes them. Which,
Because they are so polarizing.
well, Chloe said the same thing before when I back. Yeah, I really like King 810. I think they are geniuses when it comes to songwriting, personally. And I think their lyrics, if you read or listen to interviews about the members of the band,
Yeah.
yes, they are kind of borderline. Well, they're not even borderline; they are criminals to a degree. But if you read about them, you listen to their interviews, and you learn about them as individuals. When you listen to their lyrics, it tells quite a deep story, I think. And it's like that with most of the songs. They can write whatever genre of music they want, and they'll just be able to do it. It'll sound fine.
It doesn't matter when it comes to music. Ultimately, the most important thing, any band and so on, it might one person might hate what they're hearing, but another resonates so deeply.
That's it.
That's all that matters.
Well, for
That's
me,
the
it
dream.
resonates deeply.
Yeah, which is all
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
important. Okay,
All right, let's have a go.
go. Any
Oh,
33.
What's more interesting to you, deep space or deep sea?
That is terrible timing. That is terrible timing. These were written months ago, so which is more interesting right
I'm gonna
now?
say deep space. Well, personally, I'll have to say space. Let's say space for now.
Okay.
No, actually, funny you asked that. I do actually have quite a big interest in space. I do like it. It's I just think it's really cool. It's fascinating, really. I mean,
I agree with that.
Yeah, like
Yeah, I don't think there's a single member of this band that dislikes space. Why?
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who.
I'm an
Why would
alien
someone
core band.
fucking dislike space? What?
Enterprise Earth. Okay.
It brings us Saturn.
With
Brings
the
us Saturn.
unknown, it's the unknown, isn't it? I mean, the simple fact is, realistically, certainly in our lifetimes, don't say our lifetimes, I'm a lot older, I'm nearly 40, but every
me.
lifetime it feels like afterwards, but it's just simply the fact that we're never really going to know anything. So it's kind of interest, yes, but, well, what
very
are we going to
cool.
learn?
figure out it's like things that you didn't know were possible to happen. It's like phenomenons and that. It's crazy.
that black hole. Isn't it?
Crazy, bro.
Photograph, that was crazy.
Oh yeah, we
One
had
more.
that as a sample. Anyway,
Go
sorry.
I'm scared now.
Probably put this back.
So far, you've been doing okay. There are some
you want
difficult ones in there.
Sorry, I didn't know what the word rider
Was
meant.
Metallica right for going after Napster?
Oh my God!
Why did I get like the
Yeah, was Metallica right for going off the Napster? Now, bear in mind, yeah, we
I
all
have some
know it.
opinions about that. But go
Yeah.
go on.
What was the question? Sorry, it's just.
Was Metallica right for going after Napster?
Okay.
Yeah.
What did Napster do?
Do you not know?
Oh, sorry, I've not heard about this.
Have you not heard about
So,
it?
if you want it kind of like broken down, basically, Metallica, Napster back in the day was the the first version of streaming, if you want, but it was illegal. They were stealing the music and basically putting it up, people uploading it. Metallica went hell for leather for them, sued them, and so on. There's an argument to say that kind of brought in our streaming service that we have now, But obviously, our streaming services that we have now have question marks over how much they pay artists. People say Metallica were right, you should be suing people. Your music shouldn't be free. We should be paying to a certain degree, whether it be in a merch sale or a CD sale and so on. What you do as an artist matters. You know, I'm literally giving away my own answer here. Yes, Metallica were right for going off on Napster, purely because the artist should be reimbursed to a certain degree, of course, whatever that degree might be. It's a question of, obviously, as musicians, how you feel about that aspect.
Well, I don't want to make it difficult for people to listen to music by making them pay every time they want to listen to something.
It's such a question mark.
In answer to the question, yes, I think they were right. I think bands.
Sorry, Kyle.
I think bands should be paid fairly for, for their music.
Yeah.
And I don't think they are at all at the minute. Because of the internet and streaming, no, I don't think bands are.
Then I'm going to ask a general question, and it ties in this whole thing. Give me a way to fix streaming. If you can, give me one idea to fix the streaming mess that we've got, which is,
I think, I don't know if this answers any, I mean it should do, but I think every time you reach 1,000 streams, you're paid £3.
Yeah, adequate pay.
Just
3 words: pay artists more.
Yeah.
People can get all these Spotify plans, paying X amount a month, and then the fact that artists get 0.00031p for doing that, when the amount of time and money that is spent on getting a record out, and it just because of the convenience side of it, what Spotify are charging and what they'll be making, it proper does the bands dirty. But on the flip side, it's great for exposure. So that's their counterpoint.
There's that.
I think.
There's that, but like,
Buy merch.
yeah.
If you want to support
Yeah, exactly.
Over there.
Yeah, the thing I could say this as well. What was I going to say? Yeah, some of these musicians that spend so much money on recording albums, singles, EPs, and a lot of it go on tours. Some of them, most of them, have food to put on the table for families. And if they go on a tour and come off the tour in a massive amount of debt, they've got nothing to hold them up. The streams aren't going to hold them up. Like they say, it's a massive exposure, which is fair enough. But it could be a really easy and simple and effective way to make money for artists. You know what I mean?
Well, so it's like Spotify, isn't it? It's like, what is it? Like the student. If you're a student, it's something like £3 a month, and it's like you can stream, unlimited songs. And it's.
I mean, yeah, I think there's something to be said about the exposure part. Like,
I think it is good for
like,
exposure.
yeah,
but
like if it was back in the day in the 90s or something, like, you'd have to pretty much, apart from seeing us at a free gig or whatever, you'd have to pay to listen to our music. And I think it's really good in a way that we can just send someone a link just over the phone and be like, yeah, check this out. And social media and stuff like that. But at the same time, you can't have like social media and this huge internet presence and like this more exposure part without, unfortunately, these streaming services and sort of that can kind of really get away with not paying bands.
even though they wouldn't exist. They literally would not exist. Their entire role is to play music from bands.
Yeah.
So if none of the bands put any music and said, no, you're not having it, it wouldn't even exist. It is an infuriating
Bands have
conversation.
got the power. You just stop making music and then Spotify goes down and shit.
There we go.
Yeah.
It is, I mean,
It was more.
we could probably talk about it for hours and break it down in so many different ways, and none of it would fix it. It doesn't matter. But ultimately, the important thing is Steel Mage and the future right now. You've already discussed and said, hey, watch your space effectively. So, 2023, guys, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I know good things are going to come from it.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please help us out by giving us a thumbs up and hitting that subscribe button. If you really liked what you saw, consider donating to keep the website and channel running by buying us a coffee via our coffee page or picking up some merch from our Big Cartel store. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as via our social media, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, as well as listen to our interviews via SoundCloud, Apple Music and Spotify. Just search for GBHBL. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?